I'm Tom Johnson, Thomas Johnson Antique Furniture Restoration in Gorham, Maine. This is an American fancy chair from the first half of the 19th century. These chairs are not valuable. They're considered to be factory made, and they must have made hundreds of thousands of them. And of course, by factory, we mean they were built on an assembly line with interchangeable parts. And Lambert Hitchcock was a real innovator in that regard. I literally found this chair next to a dumpster. The people that were loading the dumpster must have felt it didn't belong in there, and I agree. It's a real part of American history. I usually don't clean things till after I've done regluing and any repair work, but I'm going to give this a quick wipe down with a mixture of water and white vinegar. The mixture doesn't need to be precise. Here I'm using 225 milliliters of water and about another 125 of white vinegar. I was afraid my nail pulling was going to end up like this person's did on the other side. It's great because someone had already taken the nail out. The chair's got a brick here that needs to be glued, and I don't want to take this frame apart. It seems tight, and more importantly, the cane seems fine. When I washed it, it looked great. I wetted down the bottom of it, and it became all loose and wavy, which is a good sign. And then it dried up, as tight as can be, and it seems strong. Boy, it'd be tempting to use epoxy on this, but I think I'll stick with the hide glue. The seat might have to come apart someday. I can't tell if these plugs are wood or putty. Even though the screw's tightened up fine, I'm going to leave clamps on it while the glue sets. All right, get these clamps off and do the big glue up. I want to do something about this mess before I glue it up. I was thinking I might patch it with wood, but I think I'd have to cut away too much. I'm going to do it with the epoxy putty. Once you see these crisp edges, you know you're at the edge of that damaged area. These white specks, I didn't mix it as well as I thought I did. What's great about the epoxy putty is that you're able to repair a damage like that without really affecting the surrounding surface. But it all has to happen within 10-12 minutes of you mixing it up, otherwise it gets hard as a rock. I want to pre-drill my nail hole through that putty because I want to locate it. In other words, I want my nail to be in the original holes. This panel just needs a little bit of glue in the middle there. I want to let it float. I've got a 3/4 inch difference in my diagonals here. Yeah, that's good. I took the diagonal clamp off when I was done clamping and it's fine now. This was a tough glue up. Okay. Clamps off, and then I want to give it another cleaning. This time I'll use an even weaker solution of this crud cutter, like 1 part Crud Cutter to 20 parts water. And I'm going to use an abrasive pad, this Scotch-Brite pad, but just real lightly. There's a lot of like flakiness in places, and I want to get rid of all that, the little places where the finish is flaking off. I'm just going to go real lightly. I got to plug these screw holes. They measure a half an inch, or say 12.7 millimeters, but my 12.7 millimeter plugs don't fit. So I think I'm going to use epoxy putty. Note that before I fill these, I put a little piece of tape in there over that slot. I got to cut a little smaller, but I put a piece of tape in there over that slot so that no putty gets in the screw slot. I'm going to put tape around these holes. It'll help getting rid of the excess putty. Can't forget I've got to nail that seat. Here's some nice old nails, similar to the ones that came out of there. I'm going to stain this putty with some medium walnut dye stain. So I've let this dry for about 4 hours, but it was a nice light coat. I'm going to sand it now with 500, just real gently. I just want to smooth it up a bit, and I'm going to give it another light coat. After sanding, I'm going over it with a gray ultrafine Scotch-Brite pad, just very quickly. Now I'm going to wipe off the residue with this Mohawk wax wash remover. I do have some touch-ups to do. That's a little sliver I repaired with epoxy putty. Now, you can get carried away with this stuff. I don't want to do that. Raw corners can be distracting. All right, I've let this dry overnight. I kept the heat up to about 21. I want to make sure the shellac dries. Let's see what we can do with it. I'm going to rub the chair down. I'm going to use 4/0 steel wool. I'm going to use Howard's Feed and Wax polish and some pumice. Geez, how long ago did I buy this? I'm going to put about an ounce of this polish in here. That'd be like 29 milliliters. And I'm going to put in just a pinch of pumice. I don't know what a metric pinch would be. So what I'm trying to do here is smooth this out a bit. It's fairly smooth. You can feel the texture though. And also knock down the sheen a little bit. That's what the pumice. That seems good. I'm going to go ahead and proceed with the rest of the chair. Well, there you have it. A nice little, what I was calling a fancy chair, although it doesn't have the stenciling. From the, 1830 to 1850. I like these kind of chairs, and it's an actual period antique. It's very useful, can be used in anyone's home, and they're out there just for the asking. I think it looks pretty good. These are our 19th century side chairs. I was given or found all these chairs. These are my fancy chairs, and they have the stenciling. This is a 20th century chair. It was left at the doorstep of my shop in a complete wreck. It was just a heap. I found it one morning when I came to work. Although this chair is not marked, I've worked on a few Gallet pieces, and this has got to be marquetry from that workshop. And of course, the ubiquitous Boston rockers. In the 19th century, you could find these in every home. Now you can't give them away. Although these chairs were made on an assembly line, you can see where some individuals could get carried away. Because this chair has a flat seat, it could be called a Salem rocker. This one has no stenciling, but an exceptional graining job. These two rockers are used every day.